Do you get a little nervous when your interviewer asks you, "Tell me about yourself"? Well, that sounds about right. It means you're human and you've come to the right spot. This video teaches you how to handle the "Tell me about yourself" interview question with ease, authenticity, and confidence. In this video, I'll teach you why interviewers ask this question so often and how to answer "Tell me about yourself" so that you're ready for this question no matter when someone asks you. Telling a compelling and inspiring career story is incredibly powerful, and I've seen it make the difference between an offer or no offer many times. Welcome to the Pocketboard channel, where accomplished industry mentors share their hard-earned lessons learned, guidance, and mentoring tips to help you navigate your current professional goals. My name is Erika, and I'm a former Google hiring manager and an interview coach. Landing my dream job at Google almost 10 years ago changed the trajectory of my career, and I mentor people to help them land their dream jobs because I know how life-changing the right job can be. As an interviewer, I've been on the other side of the table hundreds of times, maybe even 1,000. I've learned what works and what doesn't work when it comes to acing job interviews. I've mentored and interview prepped almost 100 people who've gone on to land their dream jobs at top-tier companies, including the super tough FANG companies. The "Tell me about yourself" interview question is highly common because it serves so many different purposes, and you need to have a solid answer to this question. There are a few reasons that interviewers ask this question, including reason number 1, they read your resume and they want to hear your career journey from your perspective. This is an opportunity to demonstrate your strategic approach to career planning and to tell a compelling story about your career to date. Reason number 2, they didn't take time to read your resume, and they're hoping you can catch them up quickly so that you can be set up for an effective interview. In this case, this is an opportunity for you to align with the interviewer and even give them ideas on appropriate interview questions to ask you. Reason number 3, they want to hear how you're mapping your past experience to this role that you're interviewing for. Do you have an interesting and/or strategic reason for making this move in your career? This is the time to share your broader goals and purpose and how this role will further your career or life mission. Reason number 4. This question is actually one of the best ways to assess someone's communication skills. Why? Because it's a subject you love and know well, yourself, so you should be able to present a thorough, comprehensive, and concise account of your past accomplishments and future goals. If you can't communicate this well, this would be a red flag for your communication skills, something that every interviewer is looking for. Because this question is so common, and because you don't know the reason your interviewer is asking it, you need a strong answer that can address all of these potential cases. The key to answering "Tell me about yourself" is to summarize the past in terms of what you learned and how those learnings make you a good fit for this role. Then go on to describe your future goals and how this role will enable those goals. By doing this, you're telling a cohesive career story that connects the past to the future and makes it clear that you are the right person for the role. In addition to presenting a compelling and inspiring case, you need to be concise, ideally taking fewer than 2 minutes. Some non-goals you will need to avoid as you formulate your answer to this question. First, no bragging. I find that this tends to happen when candidates are nervous or if they're suffering from imposter syndrome. And I'll tell you now, the person interviewing you already thinks you deserve to be there, so there's no reason to posture or brag. It's better to share what you gained or learned from each of your past career experiences than it is to brag about what you achieved. This can be a fine line, so I will show you how to walk it carefully as I teach you the framework. Second non-goal, you need to be able to walk me through a comprehensive, compelling, and concise story in less than 2 minutes. I don't need to know every detail of your projects or even your 3 titles and promotions, your manager named Sherry, or any other level of detail beyond "This was my role and what I gained or learned from it" for each of your past roles. Non-goal number 3. This is not a question that the interviewer is asking because they want to learn about your hobbies, who is in your family and how much you love them, or your Myers-Briggs type. This is about your professional story, and you only have 90 seconds, so jump on it. Non-goal number 4, shallowness. Sometimes people share a perfect story about their past career, and then suddenly things take a steep left turn. The candidate tells me the reason they want this job, working with me, on my team, is because they want a great paycheck or wonderful work-life balance. Sometimes they even share trauma stories of how horrible their last or current job is. And look, these are reasonable things to want. A great paycheck, great team members, let's throw in great benefits too. However, in the context of an interview, you want to present a more compelling story about your career and your goals. Think of at least one way this job will advance your intellectual or professional goals or sense of purpose, and share that with the interviewer. And don't worry, the paycheck, the benefits, the great team, it will come with the job. So I usually don't talk about myself much in my interview coaching work because it's really all about you. However, what motivated me to make this video about how to answer the tell me about yourself interview question is actually that I once flopped really badly when someone asked me this question off guard, not in an interview setting. I'll tell you the story for some comic relief, and hopefully, even if you're realizing that you've made some of the same mistakes I'm about to share, or if you're realizing you've done some of the non-goals we just described, you can know that it's absolutely within reach for you to learn a new approach and get really good at this question. So it was day one and I was starting a new job. I met with my new boss for the first time. I hadn't met him in the interview process, and he asked me, "Tell me about yourself." What really threw me off was that he told me before he asked the question, "I already read your resume. I just want to get to know you." In my defense, I had just taken off 6 weeks to travel between jobs, so I was very rusty in identifying that this was actually an interview question. I panicked and blurted out, "I love gardening and I have an orange cat." This is basically the nightmare version of answering the tell me about yourself answer. I said nothing about my career in the past, my goals, how I hope to contribute to him, the team, the business that I'd be joining, and the way I'd been planning to come into the role. The reality is I had spent the last 6 weeks working with an executive coach and coming up with a plan for how I was going to join the company and make an impact. So I really undersold myself and my abilities. You'll be happy to hear that I did recover after that, but I wanted to share this story as a warning that no matter who asks you, in any context, no matter what, always, always, always keep it professional and lean into this framework I'm about to teach you. There will always be a time later to share your love of gardening and orange tabby cats named Toby, but first you need to get the job. The framework I'll teach you is to break up your career story into 2 parts, the past and the future. You'll spend about 2/3 of the time talking about the past and what you gained along the way, and 1/3 of the time talking about how this job, this team, this company will fulfill a key goal you have for your future. This can be a professional goal or an intellectual one. Okay. Get out a piece of paper, or if you're like me, do this all in a spreadsheet. I'd like you to list all the companies you're interested in applying to, including the role and the team if you know about the team. If you're applying to multiple roles within one company, have one entry for each role. And for each role, what you're going to do is fill in this sentence. I am excited to bring my blank to accomplish blank for the company. Next, you're going to do the same exercise for each of your past roles. In this part of your answer, you're trying to help the interviewer see what you will bring to the role and how the role, team, and/or company will further your professional or intellectual goals. To convey this story concisely, you'll start by writing down what you want to convey. You will want to have one entry for each match of future and past roles, since the story of what you gained from each past role will differ based on the future role you want. They will each leverage different aspects of your learning and abilities. So for each past role, write down one bullet or sentence that starts with, I learned blank. Make sure the blank lines up with the role you're applying for. So for some of you, this exercise is going to be easy. For others, it will be much harder and it will take you more time. This is not a problem. Pause the video, take the time to do it, bookmark me, come back tomorrow, but commit to doing the work. It is going to supercharge your answer to the tell me about yourself question because you're going to talk about your career, past and future on inspiring and strategic terms. Next, you need to start practicing saying this out loud. You can voice or video record yourself, but you need to record yourself so that you can play it back and hear yourself. Each time you ask and answer the tell me about yourself question, listen to yourself and note down 1 to 3 things that you can improve. Then try it again. Note down the time it takes you each time you answer the question and ensure you do not exceed 2 minutes. The reason I set the 2-minute rule is in an interview, I find that people give more details when they get nervous, so it tends to take a little bit longer. I try to train myself down to 90 seconds so that in an interview, I will be 2 minutes or less. Next, you need to practice. Work and rework your words and phrasing, make it natural, authentic, and flow easily. Ask yourself the question in a few different ways, like, why do you want this job? Or, tell me about your career so far. Or, tell me how this job fits into your goals. And be sure you aren't thrown off when interviewers ask this question in different ways. I'm going to do 2 examples with my own experiences, mapped to 2 different roles, so you can see how I adjust both the past and the future to match against the roles that I'm theoretically interviewing for. The first theoretical future role that I'm applying for in this example is a data science role. So here's my answer to, tell me about yourself. I started my career in research, where I learned how to design physical experiments, how to analyze data, summarize findings, and author papers to share those findings more broadly. I then moved into a physical engineering role, where I was designing batteries, often using statistical methods combined with manufacturing constraints. My favorite part of that job was arriving to work each morning, where I would have a file of data that had been exported from our prototype test lab, and I could use the data to analyze and assess the battery designs that I was prototyping. I then moved into a software platforms role as a product manager, where I learned how to ingest large quantities of messy data, normalize and correct the data, and then use it for data-based products. From there, I joined Google, where I was developing a medical device that used complex data models to predict health signals like pulse rate. It was in this role that I developed a passion for building algorithms and machine learning models, and I actually went back to graduate school to earn a master's degree in computer science, where my focus was on machine learning models. From there, I wanted to learn more about the business side of running an engineering team. So I joined a growth stage IoT company and learned how to design and manage large engineering organizations towards achieving business goals, sustaining innovation, and building to scale. I learned that my most fulfilling career moments have happened when I was working on small, accountable teams, and where I had a data-forward role that required a strong business and user acumen. I'm excited to bring my business leadership and machine learning backgrounds to a data science role where I can help your team design and launch data models that help the company better leverage its data and empower users to make more informed decisions. Okay, so that was about 100 seconds, so I did this in under 2 minutes, which achieves one of our 3 goals, conciseness. Our other goals are to tell an inspiring and compelling career story that connects the past to the future and makes it clear that I'm the right person for the role. Do you think I achieved these goals? I felt that I connected the past to the future by highlighting the experimentation, statistics, data modeling, and the academic machine learning education that is in my background. I added the part about having a past leadership role because my story wouldn't have been cohesive without it. It can be hard to tell a cohesive story that takes you from a leadership role to an IC role, but the way I did it gives a hat tip to my leadership skills without raising any red flags about why I want to step back into an IC role. The second theoretical future role I'm applying for is a product management role. As I answer the tell me about yourself question again, see if you can spot all of the adjustments I make that enables me to tell a compelling and cohesive story that connects my past roles with the future desired role that I'm applying for. I started my career in research and development, where I worked as part of a team to design novel methods for drug delivery. All of our methods were firmly grounded in product development pathways, and I enjoyed doing research that had this aim of solving real-world problems and eventually to create products, rather than purely academic research. I then moved into a physical engineering role where I was designing batteries to meet real-world use cases, from semi-trucks carrying goods everywhere to off-grid power systems to spaceship backup power. I quickly moved into a team lead role where I was responsible for managing over 200 battery products. This is what really gave me the bug to go into product management. I then moved into a healthcare software platforms team as a product manager, where I learned how to build and launch consumer and B2B products that rely heavily on a compelling UX design and complex data backends. From there, I joined Google, where I was developing a medical device that could monitor clinical trial patients. It was in this role that I learned how to build product roadmaps and to manage deliverables across multiple engineering functions, from firmware to hardware to cloud and mobile applications. From there, I wanted to learn more about the business side of running a product development organization. So I joined a growth stage IoT company as the head of engineering and R&D operations. In that role, I learned how to design and manage platform-level roadmaps involving multiple products, and to ensure short-term delivery while maintaining a clear 3-year platform-level roadmap. My most fulfilling career moments have happened when I was working in tight partnership with skilled engineers, designers, and marketers to build products that deeply impact users and solve their problems well. I feel most fulfilled when I'm driving products forward on a team where I can bring my best and also bring out the best in others. I'm excited to bring my engineering and product experience to bear on the unique problems of your users, and actually, I've already generated some ideas that I'd love to test. Okay, that was about 100 seconds, so I did this in just under 2 minutes, and that achieves one of our 3 goals, conciseness. Our other 2 goals are to tell an inspiring and compelling story that connects the past to the future and makes it clear that I'm the right person for the role. Do you think I achieved these goals? In this example, I needed to show that I have product management chops, but I also wanted to flex my engineering background, which I believe will make me stand out from other candidates who have more business-oriented backgrounds. I tried to do this by starting with my engineering and research background, and then mentioning my tight partnerships with engineering throughout my journey. When it came time to talk about how these experiences connect to my future goals, I tried to stick the landing by making it clear why I love being a PM and why I love working closely with other product builders, and that I've already spent some time thinking about the problem domain and the user needs for this company. To recap the framework for how to answer, tell me about yourself in an interview. First, you'll spend 60 seconds sharing a quick overview of your past roles and how they've given you the skills and abilities that will help you succeed in the role you're interviewing for. Then, you'll spend 30 seconds sharing how the role you're interviewing for will leverage your abilities and enable you to have your desired career or professional impact. Easy peasy. Congratulations! You now know how to answer the Tell Me About Yourself interview question like a boss, and you will never fear this question again. The best thing about knowing how to answer this question is that you now have a formula for telling your entire career story in a concise, compelling, and inspiring way. You can use this even when you aren't interviewing. It gives people an inspiring and compelling overview of your career story and your sense of purpose professionally. Just drop the bit about the next role and instead share how your current role is furthering your professional or intellectual goals. All right, my work here is done, but yours is just beginning. So take out paper and pen or a spreadsheet if that's how you roll and get started with the framework I've taught you. No, there is no faster way to get good at this. Yes, you actually do need to do the activity to get good at answering Tell Me About Yourself. And yes, this can make the difference between a no-hire interview and an interview that results in an offer. Telling a compelling and inspiring career story is extraordinarily powerful. Once you get to a point when you're able to tell your career story in 90 seconds, offhand, with no notes, for each role you're considering, you are well on your way to landing your dream job. If you want me or other Pocketboard mentors to create more helpful videos, subscribe to this channel. To get new mentoring tips faster, make sure you ring the bell and you'll get notified when we publish new videos. Please drop a comment in this video to tell us what mentoring tips or skills you want us to cover in our next video. I'm Erika G, and you can find me on Pocketboard if you'd like one-on-one mentorship and coaching with me.